What's up, guys? It's your boy, The Plug here, back for another video. Today we're going to do part 3 of What If Deku Had a Phoenix Quirk. Now, what I'm going to do, and since currently, by the time of me, filming this video, both of the series, What If Deku Had a Phoenix Quirk and What If Deku Had Cursed Speech, are both at part 2. So now when I make part 3 of this, I'm going to make part 3 of Cursed Speech. And then I'm going to keep repeating that pattern over and over and over again until the series are finished. Both of them. And also, one time, if one of them gets enough likes, how about this? If this gets 10 likes... No, bro, I barely get any. I haven't gotten a single like on any of my videos. If this gets 5 likes, I'll do a 1 hour long video. And whichever one of the either Phoenix Quirk or Cursed Energy Quirk you want, it does not matter to me. I can do both. It does not matter. Anyway, but I think that's all I needed to say. But let's get into the what if. Where I left off, they just finished the tests, the start of the year tests with the ball throw and stuff. And then I established what Deku's friend group was, which was Ida, Sue, Uraka, and him. And then Deku went home for the day, and then he came back the next day, and it was time for, what was I going to say? Yeah, it is time for it's time for the hero versus villains exercise. So the rest of the day was pretty boring. Same old. But then, they was just chilling. They heard stomping on the hall. They were scared. They didn't know what it was. And then, boom, bursting through the door. Mr. All Might appeared and was like, I am here walking through the door like a normal human. And then everybody was like, what? And then, All Might came in and everybody was like, hey, yo, that's his Golden Age costume. Or was it his Silver Age? I forget which one. It was either his Golden or Silver Age costume. And they're like, well, that brings back memories and all that nice stuff. And then he was like, all right, today we are doing a villains versus hero exercise. Let's go to the training grounds. Follow me. Actually, before we go, you need to look the part of hero. So put on your costumes. And then, boom, briefcases came out of the wall. And then they had, numbers on them. And then they're like, I'll give you the numbers for your briefcase and then go change into your costume. Alright, so Deku's costume? Really? He doesn't actually need a costume because his quirk isn't like Bakugo's where he needs to store stuff, or isn't like OG Deku where he has to activate one for all and it takes a strain on his body. My man is just chilling. Yeah, he just straight chilling out now. So, yeah. So he's just straight chilling out. But what he does have on is, I'm gonna say what he does have on is he has this suit on. It looks like you know that new movie that's coming out and the hero costumes for that, how it's how there's kind of a turtleneck thing that's over their mouth. He has that, except it's a cooler inside, so that way it doesn't so that way he doesn't get overheated and stuff. So yeah. Anyway. Also, I'm gonna make some things about this because I'm going way into detail with the quirks. And some of the things I made I didn't really like, so I'm adjusted a little. Deku, obviously he can get overheated, but that's really his only strain. And also it tires him out, but that's the only 2 strains he has. And since I don't know why I made it Yes, and then he like, but he still has that extra healing factor. He still has that too. Anyway, but the thing he has on, he has this hero costume on. It looks like his OG hero costume in the Three Musketeers movie that's coming out. It looks like the Three Musketeer costume. If you don't know what it is, just look up third My Hero movie, and then you'll probably see Deku's costume, and that's what it looks like. Anyway, but he comes out looking drippy. Everybody's like, or not everybody, but his friends are like, "Whoa, nice costume, right?" And then he's like, "Yeah, thanks." And then like that whole interaction happens between Deku and Uraraka, when Uraraka's like, "Hey, yo, my suit's a little tight." And Deku's like, And then it was like blushing and stuff. Yeah, that all happened. Anyway, but then Alma's like, now, students, I know you're all excited about your hero costumes. Let's get to the exercise. Alright, let's see here. I put all your names in a hero and villain slot. I'm going to pick out your names, and these are going to be the teams. Let's see. Deku, Uraraka for the hero team, Bakugo, and Ito for the villain team. Let's get to it. So then they're chilling outside the building, making their plan. And I'm going to say that the villains hid their weapon on the 6th floor. And then Deku was like, "All right, I have a plan. What this plan is I'm gonna fly you up, and when I'm flying you up, you're gonna touch all of the windows and then raise them right when I give the signal, okay? So then it causes a huge panic." And then she's like, "Yeah, okay." So they walk into the building, and he says, "Do it now." And then well, actually, they've been floating. So right when it started, he flew her up, he touched all the windows, and the windows started slowly shattering because they're being lifted. And Bakugo notices, everybody noticed this, and they're like, "Whoa, that's crazy." So then, like, all the windows broke, and in that time, Deku and Uraraka like ran through, and as they're running through, out of the corner of Deku's eye, he sees Bakugo running at him with an explosion, and just in time, he jumps. He's able to backflip backward, activate his wings, and then shoot like a couple mini fireballs at Bakugo. Bakugo manages to like dodge all of them. And he's like, "Hey, Deku." And then he's like, "Oh, it's you." And then he's like, "Let's have our fight right now." And Deku already explained to Uraraka about what their relationship was, about how they went from friends to enemies. And then she was like, "Yeah, go Deku. I'll leave you alone with your rivalry." And then Bakugo screamed, "This isn't a rivalry, because I'm gonna blow him out of the water." And then she like already left by that time. She was already going up to the 6th floor where the bomb was. And then Deku and Bakugo are fighting. Bakugo keeps trying to like jump around doing explosions, but Deku keeps activating his feet. Kicks Bakugo a couple times, and then he like dodges backward. And then he's just like chilling back there, and he's like, it seems Bakugo is not fit for my fighting style. This is great. And then Bakugo's like, "So you think you're winning? Wrong." And then Bakugo pulls out a new fighting style. That I'm gonna say before he wasn't using his explosions to move around, but now he's doing that. So Bakugo's now using his explosions to move around a lot faster than on his feet. And then Deku's like, "All right, this is gonna be a little harder." So Deku's being hit by a couple explosions. He's hitting Bakugo with a couple explosions, or not a couple explosions, with a couple wing slaps, wing slashes, and all that. And then I'm gonna say Deku was like, huh. And then he's like, and then he says Phoenix chains. And then Phoenix chains pop out of his body, and the chains are like chasing Bakugo around the building, and Bakugo's being chased, and then he jumps over them, and then explodes like the middle of the chains to make like where they're connecting go away. But then I just regrew it with the fire, and he's like, damn it, I guess I'll have to go back to Deku. So he exploded through the walls and came back to not me. Why did I say me? He came back to Deku, and I was like, there you are. And then Deku was had to deactivate his chains and dodge. And then they were like kind of like Bakugo was like above him, flying above him, while Deku was doing that weird Matrix thing where they like dodge. It's kind of like what I said in the cursed speech video, where like they're doing that weird Matrix thing where like he dodges the bullets and looks at the bullets while he's like bent backwards, except the bullets are Bakugo. Like the bullet is Bakugo. And then while they're looking at each other, Bakugo raises his hand for an explosion, but Deku learned a new move where he can overheat one of his body parts to make like an explosion kind of like Bakugo's. So he does that for his arm, and then boom, a green and red explosion go off. And when the smoke clears, they're both down. They're both down right now. And then they both managed to strugglingly stand up. And then they're like, we're not going down just yet. And then they're still fighting right now. They're kind of worn out with their quirks. Well, not like they're not worn out, but like they're not using them right now, and they're just fist fighting. Like just like, you know that scene where it was like Naruto versus Momoshiki, and that sick taijutsu scene where they were just punching each other. It kind of looked like that. And then they were just going at it. Everyone was like, whoa, that's some crazy stuff. Like, our fighting isn't on that level. Sorry, guys, I just, like, fell off my bed. Ow, that really hurt. But, and they're like, our fighting isn't on that level. And they're fighting, and then Deku was getting a few solid hits in. Bakugo was getting solid hits in. And then Bakugo was like, there's an opening. And Deku like jumped backward a little, and then Bakugo was like, that's an opening. And then Bakugo like rushed forward as fast as he could with explosions, and then did a double explosion to Deku, and then he flew backward, but Deku was able to recover. And then Bakugo was like, dodge this one, and then he pulled the pin on his gauntlets, and then boom, it went everywhere. And then Deku dodged out of the way barely. He got scathed by it a little. And then Deku was like, damn it. And then he activated his feet and was like jumping around like that with also his wings. And he was doing a combined move. He was trying to do a combined move of Phoenix Kick and Phoenix Blades. So he was shooting Phoenix Blades in a more dull form, and he was also doing his Phoenix Kick. So Bakugo was pretty much filled with trying to do two things at once. So he was like, I can't dodge them all. And then Deku like went upward, shot wings toward the front of him. So Bakugo had to block the things above him. And then Deku went behind him, launched at him, kicked him, grabbed him, did that weird explosion thing where he exploded his foot as he kicked Bakugo, and then boom, Bakugo got launched across, and then Deku jumped at him again. And instead of using like any of his quirk, he jumped up. He put a little bit of flame in his hand, and to make it a little more fiery, so that way it hurt more, and then just uppercutted Bakugo and knocking him out. And then let's go to Uraraka. So, and since Uraraka broke the glass, there was a lot more things she could use. So she touched some of the glass on her side, and then she like floated them, and then she also was like, how am I gonna get something to hit these with? And then she was like, and then she didn't know what to do, but then she was like on the radio to Deku, I need something. And then she explained the plan, and I'm going to play out the plan right now, like as we're going along. All right, so this is what Deku does. He goes to the floor directly under the middle of, like, he goes to the 5th floor directly under Uraraka while she's like facing off, while she's like looking at Ida doing his like weird thing where he's like, I am a villain now. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and then after she watches Ida do his monologue, Deku is like under them, ready to do the plan. And what he does is he transforms into full Phoenix. And you know the thing I did where it was like he combusts? So what that was basically the explosion thing where he transformed a part of his body into the Phoenix and then overloaded it and made it explode. He did that with the Phoenix, with the full body Phoenix, and that was Discharge. But he changed the name to Phoenix Explode. So he did full body Phoenix Explode. And then he exploded the roof above him. And then Uraraka was like, perfect. So she grabbed the pillar and then hit all the glass and rocks toward Ida. And then jumped on the rocket while floating herself. And then boom, she made it. And then it was announced, your team won. And then Bokugo was in the infirmary. Deku was fine enough to watch like the review, but he still also had to go to the infirmary afterward. So he was chilling, and then they went over the review. They said that Ida was match MVP for the same reasons, because Deku was too reckless with the attacks he did and when he exploded the roof and that stuff. So that's why they made Ida MVP. And, yeah. And then they pointed out flaws with everybody else about how dangerous the Team Hero attack was and how if it was a real bomb, that would have not worked and all of that stuff. And then Deku went to the infirmary to get some of his injuries checked out, and Bakugo was there. And then Deku chased Bakugo outside and was like, come on, man. And then he did that thing where he was like, and then Bakugo did the thing where he was like mental breakdown right after the hero versus villains thing. And then All Might came, calmed him down, and they both went inside. Alright, so I'm gonna make this part a little longer than usual because I ended in part 2 early. So I'm gonna stretch it out. What events is next after the USJ? Alright, so they're just chilling in class, and then their homeroom teacher Aizawa walks in and is like, alright kids, we're going on a field trip to the USJ, come on. And then they're like, what's that? And then he explains what the USJ is, and then they go on the bus. Ida kind of wanted it to be in order, but the way the seatings were, that would never happen. So Deku was chilling on the bus. They were talking about quirks, and then they were like, oh yeah, Deku, what even is your quirk? It's pretty interesting. And he was like, oh, my quirk, it's called Phoenix. I basically turn into a fire phoenix, and I can turn certain parts of my body into a phoenix. I can discharge fire from the phoenix parts. Sometimes if I try, I can create stuff from the fire, but that's only certain things. Like I can create chains and knives and all that. And also if I overload a part of my body with phoenix power, then it can explode, and that's how I exploded the roof at the Heroes versus Villains event. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. And then they talked about how Bakugo and Todoroki had real heroes, Quirk. And then they were talking about quirks and all that, and then they arrived. When they arrived, they went down an elevator, and then 13 is like, welcome, kids. This is the USJ. And then she was like, as you know, you are training to become heroes. And this is a rescue simulation. And Uraraka was freaking out because she wanted to be a rescue hero just like 13. And then she was like, oh my god, 13. And then she was like, please be quiet for a second. I'm trying to explain. And then Uraraka was like, sorry. And then she was explaining, and then she was like, and every quirk can be dangerous. Even my quirk that's used for rescuing could be used to kill someone. And then they're like, so be very careful with your quirks. And then Kirishima saw like a portal open and was like, whoa, you guys even have fake heroes? That's sick. And then they're like, what are you talking about, fake heroes? And then we're like, those are real heroes, get down. And then Aizawa went down there to fight the other heroes. And then Deku was like up there with the rest of his class. And then Kurogiri appeared, and then Deku activated his full Phoenix and was kind of like flying above. And then was kind of like shooting stuff at like shooting blades and like chains at Kurogiri, but Kurogiri was just fading through them because he's like just a ball of steam, or he's a ball of like fuzz, whatever. And then Deku, Sue, and Mineta got teleported in there. The same thing happens where Mineta's freaking out and Deku and Sue are making a that but this time the plan is this. So what they're gonna do is Deku's gonna fly them into the air. Actually, no, Sue's gonna jump into the air holding Deku. And Mineta is gonna throw the balls into the water because they found out they were scared of the balls, and then they're gonna drop Deku in there. And as he's falling, he's gonna activate full Phoenix and then do the full body explosion. So they did that, and it worked. They defeated all the villains. They got out, and when they got out, they saw Aizawa getting like just beaten by the Nomu. And Deku was so tempted to help them, but Mineta was like, no, you can't. If Aizawa's getting beat by him, there's no way you can. And then Shigaraki got teleported by Kurogiri over to Sue and was about to decay her. And then Deku was like, oh no, Sue! And then Aizawa was able to use oh god. Aizawa was able to use the last of his quirk to save Sue. And then Deku was able to get a punch to his gut, and then Kurogiri teleported Shigaraki again, and then they were fighting, and then Shigaraki was like, no, go kill that stupid brat that punched me. And then the Nomu turned its attention away from Aizawa and went toward Deku. And Deku flew above it. It was trying to do explosions, chains, and everything it could. It even did the full body explosion, but it didn't destroy its brain, so it just healed up. It was slashing it. It was he was kind of lost out here. So then Deku did this one move called Phoenix Tornado, and what he did is he went full body Phoenix and started spinning around and made a Phoenix Tornado once he stopped, and the Phoenix Tornado went toward the Nomu and shredded it up. For a second they thought he defeated it, but there was a little chunk of his brain left that was still working, and he regened from that. And then the Nomu launched toward him, and since it was a new move, he wasn't used to it. So then he tried doing mini versions of it, but it didn't have the same effect. It kind of had the same effect, but since it wasn't the same scale, it didn't have the same effect. So then Deku got punched by it hard into a wall. He was about to get punched again, and then All Might jumped toward it and was like, I am here. Punched the Nomu across the face. And then he did that one thing where he was like 100% smash. And he saved everybody. Actually, let me give a better thing of that. So, All Might came in there, and then he did the whole thing where he was getting beaten by the Nomu. And then some of the students had to chime in and all that. And then Deku was able to get out and spectate and send a couple shards and like mini tornadoes at the Nomu every once in a while. But it didn't make too much effect, but it helped a little. And then All Might, it was kind of like the Gatling thing where he did like multiple punches at once. And then he was like, ah. And then he was doing multiple punches. And then he was like, Detroit, Texas, Delaware, 100% smash! And then he just absolutely rocketed the Nomu out of the place. And then Shigaraki just like, damn it. Can't believe All Might was able to beat the Nomu. And then he has anger issues, like, goddamn. So Shigaraki was getting pissed. And then Kirigiro was like, we can't do this right now. If we engage more, we're only going to get beat. And then he's like, yeah, you're right. Let's go home. So they went home, and that concluded the USJ arc. See you later, boys or girls or transgender, or whoever is watching this, really. Have a nice day. And see you later. Hope you enjoyed part 3 of What If Deku Had a Phoenix Spark. Part 3 of What If Deku Had Cursed Speech is coming tomorrow. See you later.